grind aim and mechanics, but if you really want to get extremely good at CS2 fast, you need more than just deathmatch. Today, I'm breaking down game-changing ways to accelerate your progress, utility, positioning, mindset, and routines that make an instant difference. I'm Louis, and in this video, you'll see how using flashes, smokes, and HEs can actually boost your aim, fastest way to find your best role and positions on every map. I'll walk you through efficient practice routines and map fundamentals that put you ahead of the average player overnight. Timestamps are below if you want to jump to a specific tip. Let's get into it. Now, if you're constantly dying in fights and you think it's your aim, it actually might be because you're not using utility. Now, I'm going to go through all of the pieces of utility and how they can help you in fights, starting off with the flashbang. Now, everyone knows with a flashbang that obviously it's going to blind someone that's looking at the flash, but there's some situations where you may not be able to throw the perfect flash. So if I wanted to duel someone that is sitting here at arch, either if he has a rifle or even an op, instead of me trying to find some perfect flash lineup that's going to blind them, like flashing over the building like this, something I could do is just flash off this wall. Now, not only can I peek with this flash because it's going behind this wall, but I want this player to see the flash. He's not only going to hear it, but he's also going to see it, and it's going to cause this guy to hide, or if he's somewhere out in the open, he's going to have to turn. Now, if he's going to turn, I can obviously just swing this guy and kill him, but if he's going to hide, I can actually just sit here and repost on this angle and wait for him to repeat. Now, you do need good crosshair placement, and you do need to understand where you need to be aiming and where the head level is just for your crosshair placement, but this is going to make a lot of players want to re-peek. So many people lack discipline inside of Counter-Strike, especially at the lower elos. So you just flashing this guy off, making him hide, he's going to swing again, which will give you a really free, easy kill. Now, moving on to smokes, this is a piece of utility that only doesn't just block areas of the map, but it's going to help you isolate certain angles. So on Inferno B site, what is really good is understanding their setup. So if I knew someone was playing on site and I also knew someone was sitting in spawn, something that I could do is find, a smoke that's going to smoke front site on B, or, you throw it off the wall like this and it lands up here. This is going to help me isolate these fights into spawn because I can block all of sight. So someone that's sitting here on site is going to be like, holy smokes, I can't see. And that's going to help me isolate this angle on anyone playing in spawn. So if you are constantly swinging into multiple people, or maybe you just notice that you're always fighting two people at the same time, start prioritizing using smokes to block certain areas where you think someone is playing. Now, for the HE grenade, there's only really one cool trick that you can use for this, and that's pretty much just making a little smoke shield for you when you peek. So if I knew someone was over here playing in spawn, something I could do is just left click a nade like this and then peek behind this smoke. Now, you do have to line it up correctly where it's going to blow close to you. So if I throw the nade a little bit farther like this, you can see that I'm pretty much just peeking behind this little smoke grenade. And anyone playing in spawn, it's going to be kind of hard to see you when you are swinging behind that smoke, which gives you a good opportunity to get a kill. Now, if we put everything all together, let's say we wanted to really use our utility to isolate fight, something we can do is throw this mid-site smoke just to isolate this fight into CT. I could throw a flash into spawn like this and then an HE and then just peek behind this smoke, and chances are, using all of the utility tips combined, I would almost be guaranteed a kill on anyone playing CT if he did want to fight me. Now, in order to get good really fast, you guys need to pretty much just start off with your strengths and use your strengths. And the first thing you guys need to realize is if you're really good being aggressive or really good being passive, because this is going to determine where you're playing on the map in order for you to be really good. So if you're a passive player like on Inferno, a position you would be playing is over here towards A, which is the pit player, where you're pretty much just the anchor and you're just hard focused on apps pretty much the whole entire round. Sometimes you may have to spot lane, but there's really no reason for you to be aggressive at all unless they start wrapping A site. Then you obviously need to push into halls, but that's really the only time. Now, on the T side, it's also the same thing. If you're passive, you're pretty much just lurking halls. You can just sit and hold for pushes. You can walk in and just kind of sit AFK. Think of someone like Rops or Nap. These people just lurk and just sit, being passive the whole round, just waiting because they're really good at it. Now, if you're someone that's aggressive, someone like Donk or Flames, being a banana player is important because you have a lot of options where you guys can fight banana by, smoking down, throwing double mollies, peeking car. You can even do a sprint down where you're running down banana as well. Or you can even just retake banana on a timing where you're just sitting at corner and a teammate flashes for you. You can just swing and then kill anyone that has taken any sort of map control. And it's the same thing on the T side as well. Where on the T side, you're mulling car and running up. You can get flashed in. You can rush. There's so many options, and you guys need to find out which one works best for you. Now, once you find if you're either, really good at being passive or really good at aggression, this is where you start to master that. So if you know you're someone that's really aggressive, you just need to start experimenting experimenting and playing the same exact spots. Like on my team, I play banana on CT and T side, and I've experimented with a lot of things, so I know what works. Now, if you do have a duo, it's going to help you a lot more as well, because when I play on my team or even pug with the person that I play banana with, we know what works and what can win us rounds, where we know like if we start the round by mauling car and then just insta throwing a high left flash, I know my teammate can literally just run up and most of the time get a free entry kill, because we've experimented and figured out that this has worked for us. And there's been a lot of trials and errors when we do things like this, where we've done it before, where we throw like the halfway smoke, we still throw the molly, and then the teammate runs through the smoke on the flash, and we figured that that wasn't really the best. So it's all preference on what really works for you when you're experimenting. But once you kind of figure out what you're good at, that's when you start to get really good, because you're able to become a master. Now, watching back your games is very important, because this is where you're going to learn. And if you guys didn't know, I actually have coaching on Metafy down below in the description. So if you guys are looking for a professional player to watch back your games, you guys can go look at that link and sign up for a coaching session. But you can learn a lot of things just from watching demos. You can understand on how you're aiming, understand how you're moving, your positioning on why it's bad, and so many other things. Now, you could either record your gameplay session, or you could even just go back and download a demo like this one here, where I'm watching a pro match, and just understand on what is happening. You can see how people are killing you. Maybe your peaks are bad and you're peaking slow, like we'll talk about in this video, or maybe you're just not using utility fully to the max, where you need to be flashing certain angles and you're just drive peaking everybody. There's so many things that you can learn and just dissect from watching back a game, even seeing if your utility usage is going to hit, just like the HE grenade thrown here. So if nothing really seems to be working for you, I really recommend that you either go get one of my coaching sessions, or just go back and watch your game and see the mistakes you're making and really try to dissect on what the problems are in your own gameplay.
Now, before I get into the next tip, let me tell you about SkinsMonkey. Is a CS2 skins trading site marketplace that provides an instant way to get new skins. The favorite thing about SkinsMonkey is that I can trade skins that I no longer want and trade it for a skin that has equal value. If you use code LouisCS2, you get a $5 bonus on your first trade. And if you want to buy skins, you can get a 30% deposit bonus plus an extra 5% using my code. The link is down in the description. Thank you, SkinsMonkey, for sponsoring this video.
Now, if you wonder why pros are so good, or how some people get good really fast, it's because they practice the fundamentals, and you don't even necessarily have to practice them. If you're more of a casual player and you're looking for a, quick guide on how to get really good like this video, literally just warming up the fundamentals is what's going to make you excel. Now, the fundamentals are literally just your aim and your movement, and you can do it in a map just like this, where you have bots standing in front of you. And all you want to do when you warm up is, first, when you spawn in, you just want to practice your flicks, because this is your muscle memory that's going to warm you up. And being able to flick is obviously a good fundamental skill of the game. And if you're not good at this, then obviously you're not going to be good at all. So being able to train and warm this up is what you guys want to be doing. And you want to make sure you're practicing mostly horizontal crosshair placement. If you're someone that has shaky aim like this, or maybe you do like U-shapes to flicks, this is going to get you killed majority of the times, because it's faster to just flick horizontally than if you were doing like a little U-shape, which I see a lot of players do. So you want to make sure that you're, practicing horizontally, because most of the time in CS, when you're clearing angles, you're never really moving your crosshair up and down a lot. Maybe you have some sort of micro adjustments depending on where you're aiming, but you just want to make sure that you're practicing going across in a straight line. And if you can't do it fast, all you have to do is just start off slow, where you're trying to just go horizontal like this, and then eventually you want to just speed it up, where you can just shoot bots pretty much just constantly back and forth. Now, the other fundamental thing is obviously movement, where you want to practice counter strafing. And if you're not really good at this, you just want to start off slow, where you're just taking your time, stopping and shooting, flicking to bots. And then eventually, this is where you want to try to speed it up, where you're just flicking back and forth to bots as fast as you can. And this is what's going to make you good. Training fundamentals is almost like weightlifting, where you want to make sure that you're doing the form correctly, and then slowly increase your weight once you have the form mastered. So if you slowly start training your movement, where you're just taking your time, making sure you're really understanding the fundamental aspect of it, this is where you can start to add more weight in a sense, where you're starting to really speed it up. And this is what's going to make you good, because once you have the fundamental form down, understand how it works, have the good horizontal placement for the flicks, this is what's going to really put it together to really make you excel. Now, some of you guys might have all the skills to be good at Counter-Strike, but you're lacking in game sense, and that's probably because you don't understand the concept of push and pull. pull. So on the T side of Inferno, what's really important is that you are pushing and pulling. And if you don't know what that means, it's as simple as this. Where at the start of the round, the T's will want to take banana control where they molly car. They probably have a second guy here mollying corner, flashing for their teammate to clear it. And now they have top car. So what that means is they are pushing. Now the pull aspect comes from the CTs, where if we apply a lot of pressure in banana, where we get this, maybe my teammates and I try to double stack towards CT, trying to get a free kill. This is where we start to pull the CTs. And this is where the concept push and pull comes in. Because once you do a little bit of push, then the pull comes in, and that's where it opens up the other side of the map. So once we apply pressure over at banana and top car, this is where we would start to walk up mid, either drive, try to get some kills. If we didn't hear anything, maybe we come over here and alt mid and we decide that we want to smoke off porch because maybe we just think the gap is going to be over here towards arch. So we would pretty much just wait for this smoke to come in. It lands, then we're able to take bracket. And then this is where more push and then pull comes in. Where now that we have this, the CTs kind of have to decide. If this guy rotated B, you might be thinking, oh man, I got to go back over here, which is us pulling the CTs again. And it's just a constant push and pull. And to make it a little bit more simple, it's literally just applying pressure and then thinking that one CT is just going to move or even react. So if you guys can do map control on all the maps thinking of a push and pull aspect, your game sense should probably accelerate, only because you're thinking of the game in a different way, which is going to recognize gaps. Now, one of the most important things is understanding the fundamentals of a map, and Dust 2 is a perfect example of this because it's the most simple Counter-Strike map there is, where it's just 3 lanes and you pretty much just have to block and take them. Now, if you don't know what I mean by the fundamentals of a map, it's literally just how the map is played. So on the CT side, you know that there's going to be a B player, there's going to be a mid player, and there's going to be 3 players towards A. Now, the 3 players towards A can either take long, they can mask it, where they fake that they take long just by smoking doors. You know, someone's mauling blue and then just runs away. Or you can literally just fight over here towards cat. And that's just the fundamentals of how you can play. There's a lot of mix-ups that you can do and different aggression plays and gambles, but that's just the fundamental of it. Now, on the T side, it's very simple, where you just have to know that usually most of the time it's 2 to 3 over here towards tons, or sometimes 2 players will come over here to take lower. And you know, there's all the basic nades that you can learn, but obviously we're just talking about pretty much the positions fundamentally. Now, either 1 or 2 could come here. You can have 1 or 2 top mid, and there's going to be 1 outside that's just listening and holding for long. Now, something else that you have to learn about the fundamentals of the map are what smokes do I need to learn. Now, for the T side of Dust 2, the most important smoke that you should know is the mid door smoke, where you just come up on this crack and aim at this stock. And this pretty much just helps you take all the map control that you need, where you're not going to die from anyone opping in mid, since that is one of the most common positions that oppers will play on this map. And just learning these basic things will help you guys and also your team, because you understand how the map works. And the reason why you want to understand how the map works is because you can almost pick the pieces apart. Or let's say, for example, that the T's decide to take long. Now, once the T's take long, it's fundamentally correct to fight for something else as a CT, because once you lose map control, you have to take something back. So if you know that 3 are over here towards A, maybe you tried to fight long and you run away, instead of just sitting here and spawn, just waiting for them to cross, you guys go over here and take cat. But since you guys know that they took long, it's probably 3 to 4 of the T's majority outside over towards long, which means you guys can try to isolate the guy that is lurking towards B, because since you subconsciously know how the map works, you understand on where you can find the advantage just by understanding how the map is played and where most of the numbers are. So if you notice that maybe you feel lost in your games, maybe your game sense isn't the best, this is more of a simpler way to just understand on what is happening in the round to help you dissect, because a lot of newbie players kind of just run around mindlessly not even thinking. But if you think about how the map is played and how the map works, this is where you're going to find your advantage. Let's say you're in a casual Dust 2 game and no team is smoking mid door. No one's jump spotting suicide for the mid push. This is where as a CT, you can just run into lower for free, get some free kills, or maybe you can literally just run up mid and just sit and hold this angle here for people swinging top mid. Understanding this is literally just from understanding the most basic level of how the map is played. So if you don't understand on how a map is played, you can literally just go watch a, pro demo. You can go watch probably one of your favorite streamers like Wilson CS2 or even Austin CS, just to understand where people are going. And once you understand where people are going on the map, you will have a wider perspective and more knowledge on how to abuse certain things that are happening and understand the round that is being played. Now, something that I see a lot that makes people die so many times is they don't know how to swing properly. Even up in level 10 in North America, around like 4,000 elo, I get some people in my games that love to just shift walk peek like this. Now, the reason why this is bad is because you are super slow when you peek, and it's so easy to kill you because even most newbie players will be holding their crosshairs super tight like this and just insta kill you as soon as you try to peek because you're trying to walk. Now, something you guys probably don't know is that you can actually swing really fast without even making any noise. So just going around angles like this is basically useless, because why would you want to put yourself at a disadvantage and make yourself slower in a game that is all about peeking in a certain way? So if you guys don't know how to peek, it's very simple. You never want to be slow around a corner. Even if you don't really know where someone is, you still need to take your time, because if I was walking out long and was just walking like this, I'm exposing myself so much because not only am I not ready for my opponents, but I'm also just so slow that I'm like a grandma that lost her cane. That was kind of stupid. So if I did want to come out long, what I would want to do is just walk up to this wall and just peek like this. Like I'm clearing all the angles. And then, you know, I can eventually start to walk up like this. But once I think someone may be in an area, even if it's, you know, maybe like a 5% chance, I still want to clear him at full speed without making any noise, because I obviously want to be silent if I'm walking out long. So I just want to make sure I'm strafing and stopping before I even make any noise. And this is really easy to practice if you guys go in offline as well. But you just want to make sure that you're always being fast. Now, if you want to crouch peek someone and be fast, you can also do that too. Instead of just shifting out like this and being super slow, what you want to do is crouch peek like this. And what I'm doing is very simple, is where once I'm about to peek the angle about right here, this is where I'm hitting crouch. So I'm coming off his screen very fast, and I'm also still moving. So if he had his crosshair sitting right here, he would see me as soon as I'm dropping, and then I would still be moving. So even if he tries to flick down and then spray me, he has to try to track me across my screen, and that is the proper way to peek. So if you guys are constantly dying because you're trying to hold shift, even when you're ADing like this, you're putting yourself at a huge advantage. And if that is a problem for you, I really recommend that you literally just unbind shift, and you should notice that you're catching more players by surprise.